comes to your mind when you think about the ethics of breaking barriers? It could be breaking the barriers faced by the poor, barriers to your dreams, or even the fear of public speaking. But I think that gender inequality is an even more significant barrier. Gender inequality is shown in various forms, from the workplace to the sports field. However, today I want to focus on an even more crucial topic: gender inequality in education. Education is a basic human right, and it plays a vital role in personal and social development. Despite the efforts to promote inclusive education, gender inequality remains a significant issue in educational systems worldwide. This affects access, enrollment, retention, outcomes to mostly girls. In many regions, cultural laws and economic constraints often limit girls' access to education. And when they do attend, they meet with gender stereotypes in the curriculum and teaching practices. How many of you here know the difference between gender inequality and gender diversity? It is very important to understand the distinction between both of these words. Gender diversity is normal differences like religious backgrounds, cultural practices, or even various identities. On the other hand, gender inequality is discrimination, mostly to women and girls. This sometimes can be pervasive or deeply rooted in terms of society. Traditional beliefs and cultural laws often prioritize boys' education over girls. In many families, girls are expected to take on household responsibilities or are married off at a young age, curtailing their educational opportunities. Poverty. Poverty plays a significant role in limiting girls' access to education. Families which have limited financial resources may choose to invest on boys' education, viewing it as a more secure and essential investment for the future. Even though there are laws and policies in place to promote girls' education, this implementation often falls short because of things like corruption, lack of funding, and mostly insufficient training for female teachers can hinder progress. The lack of safe and accessible schools for girls is another critical barrier. The long distances to school, the insufficient sanitation facilities, school violence, and safety concerns can discourage parents from sending their daughters to school. While gender inequality is a global issue, it is especially severe for women in countries like India. Many women in India are denied the basic right to education, something that most of us here take for granted. The reasons for this can be multifaceted and complex. Now, imagine you're entering your classroom and your teacher asks you a question. What do you want to become when you grow up? A girl in your class confidently raises her hand and tells that she wants to become a businesswoman. The entire class hisses and mocks at her. Now, picture yourself in her situation. What would you do? And should anyone be judged for their dreams? Give that some thought. Once, Emma Watson quoted that it is time that we all see gender as a spectrum instead of two sets of opposing ideals. I believe that this sentence has a huge meaning behind it. This sentence is a genuine truth. We should all see this world as one, humans, not as two rivals, especially not with children. Did you know that in 2001, only 48% of the women in India were educated? After a few years, the literacy rate improved by 22%. In 2022, the literacy rate for women in India was 70%. I would rather consider this a significant improvement for a country like India. Many women in India have set an example for breaking barriers. For example, Kalpana Chawla, an American astronaut with an Indian origin, or P.T. Usha, an Indian athlete, or Mary Kom, an Indian boxer. Here are a few examples of solutions that I would suggest for providing education to girls. But everyone here might have their own opinions and solutions, which I'm sure will be great if you implement them. Spread awareness. One way to spread awareness is by using social media to inform and share success stories of girls who have received help from education. Another way is to organize community events and workshops to discuss the importance of providing education to girls. Additionally, collaborating with local organizations and influencers can help support girls' education worldwide. May it be a milkman or a street vendor. Persuade them to send their daughters to school. Economic support. Economic support for girls is essential for them to focus on their studies instead of having to work to afford their education. This includes in providing scholarships, financial incentives, and support to families to encourage them to send their daughters to school. Improving infrastructure. One way to improve infrastructure in schools is to ensure that schools are safe, accessible, and have the necessary facilities. This includes in providing safety measures, such as well-lit boundaries and safety measures. Policy enforcement. Policy enforcement in education involves actively promoting and implementing rules and regulations. These rules ensure equal educational opportunities for all individuals, regardless of gender, and the accountability of those responsible for upholding these laws. Addressing gender disparities in education involves addressing gender disparities in education includes policy enforcement and all of these solutions. As we reflect on successful models and best practices from various regions around the country, we find that progress is indeed possible. For example, Kerala's focus on inclusive education and Tamil Nadu's focus on innovative health schemes and impactful work of organizations like Pratham and Educate Girls demonstrate that with commitment and strategic action, we can make significant strides towards gender equality. An inspiring example of breaking barriers in women's education is the story of a young woman who faced a lot of barriers to her education, but continued to advocate for equal educational opportunities, leading to increased support for this issue. Her efforts were recognized with the youngest Nobel Peace Prize laureate in 2014, and she started an initiative which ensures that all girls have 12 years of free, safe, and quality education. She has met with global leaders, spoken at international conferences, and authored several books. Her story is a powerful example of breaking barriers in women's education. Let us approach this challenge with determination and optimism, fully aware that every step we take brings us closer to a world where education is universally accessible and where everyone, irrespective of their gender, can excel. In the end, it's not only girls who face obstacles and barriers. Everyone here will face an obstacle or a barrier at some point of their life. At those times, it's vital to have the confidence to speak up and have the bravery to stand strong no matter what. I hope that all of us here today, listening to me, help create the biggest impact that this world has ever seen. Thank you.